Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today on this special occasion. I'm Guillermo Schneider, founder and director of Ubiquo Business School from Miami, Florida. I want to welcome all the students from Ubiquo in Latin America and in Europe, and our special executive guests from Latin America, including Asus CEO Alexia Keberbich and others important companies, CEOs and executives all around Latin America. Today is very special for us. Thank you for waiting. Today we have the privilege of having the visit of Mr. Lee Cockerell, former executive vice president of operations for Walt Disney Company and the best-seller author of several books, including Creating Magic or Ponga Magia en su Empresa in Spanish, with our great friend, Fran da Costa, former cast member of operations in Walt Disney Company, and now our Disney culture facilitator for Ubiquo. It's an honor to have you here, Mr. Lee Cockerell and Mr. Fran da Costa. Thank you both for sharing your experience as a leader with our students. Thank you so much for being here and enjoy the meeting. I leave you in good hands. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Frank?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Guillermo. Well, Guillermo, thank you for the introduction. Lee Cockerell Guillermo is one of the partners here at the Ubiquo. He's actually the owner of the business school, Ubiquo Online School, and we work very close with him to bring all these students the leadership. And I am excited to be here with you. It's so great. How have you been?
For me, it's good to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Awesome. There's a little delay today, but we'll figure this out with the technology. So we have over 1,200 people in our webinar this today, and I'm so excited that we get to talk about the leadership of the world that we're living in right now that is a little bit chaotic, and at the same time, I got to do a leadership Q&A between you and I, and go over a little bit of some memory lanes when we worked together at the Walt Disney World Resort.
Great, looking forward to it.
So let's begin this awesome afternoon here. First of all, I love your books. You have over 5 books right now that you have written. Congratulations on all these books that you've written. One of my favorite books of all time has always been the Creating Magic, right? Gotta keep this book on shelf. It's one of my favorite books, but my second favorite book is The Customer Rules. I love this book so much because you go into into the detail of all the customer rules and how you inspire to write that. My first question to you, Lee, is number one, I want to let everybody know that's watching is that I had the opportunity to work with you in under your leadership while you were the senior vice president of the entire complex of Walt Disney World Resort. I started in 2005. Now we're going to go into a little bit of memory lane. 2005 was a crazy year for the company in general. So I don't know if you could remember a little bit of the 2005 where we had the 50th anniversary of Disneyland. We had the opening of Hong Kong Disneyland. And then at the same time, we were celebrating the 1 million dream and then celebrating the happy place on earth. Give me a little feedback what was going through your mind during 2005.
Well, I think those times there was a lot going on, but I can tell you it didn't bother me too much because, as you well know, the secret at Disney is we don't really do much. The cast members do it all. We just make sure we hire the right people at Disney, and we're very careful about that. And then we make sure we train them and that we're very clear about expectations for them to be great performers and to do a great job. And then I think we treat them well and they want to come to work. So I always say, hire them right, train them right, and treat them right. And then you don't have to worry about very much, because when you have great people that are well trained and are happy to come in and feel like they matter and people care about them, they take care of the business no matter how busy it is.
Yeah. I love that. I do love that. You are. Go ahead.
No, and I think a lot of companies don't realize it's that simple. Hire good people. Take your time. As we talked about, you and I before, is take your time when you hire people. Get the right people. If you make a mistake, then deal with it. Get rid of them. But don't. Most companies don't want to do that. They get too busy. They go too fast. They end up with people with a bad attitude, unreliable.
Let me hold you
All right?
just a moment because you have a great. I love Lee's quote. Lee have amazing quotes. He should write a book only on all the quotes that he have put out there because he's a humble guy and it just comes out of his heart. You said hire slow, fire fast. Tell me about what hire slow, fire fast means and how is your philosophy on that?
Well, I think it connects with the most important thing you do in your business. Any business is the people you bring in. There's nothing more important. If you don't have great people, you're not going to be successful. It doesn't matter how good you personally are. And so I think I always tell people, always remember the most important thing is bringing the right qualified people with a great attitude and people you can trust. And so take your time. Just work slower. Take your time. Check out people. We have a very good system at Disney for asking certain questions to learn about you, learn about your attitude, learn about your reliability, learn about discipline, learn about do you have the persistence to take care of the guest all day long when it's hot and it's raining and all these things happen. And just the key is, okay, we did still make mistakes sometimes. But when you make a mistake, you got to fix it. That means you either deal with the person attitude, you bring them around, or you fire them. I mean, this is like, it's not your fault. We were clear. We are clear about expectations. If you can't do it, then you have to go somewhere else. It's not fair to the other cast members, and it's not fair to the guests to have somebody who doesn't care and does a great job. I mean, and at the end of the day, it hurts your bottom line. It hurts the profit. So, yeah.
Well, one of the leadership I have learned from you being under your administration, and you have come out to the parks and talked to the cast members. And one thing I loved about it is you always came out, checked with everything else. I vividly remember you wearing a gold lanyard. You always wore that gold lanyard, especially because we were celebrating the 2005 year of gold. You wore that gold lanyard, and we like, Lee's coming, and everybody knew Lee was in the park. And you always spoke to us. And one thing I loved about it is something that you wrote on this book, The Customer Rules. And I'm just going to point it out really quick. And if you don't remember, it's completely fine, but I know you do. Something I love is when you said, don't give the responsibility without the authority. I love this chapter on rule number 32 because you do an explanation about a recent gadget that was coming out in the market, and this lady was in a wheelchair. She wasn't very well, and they asked the security guard if they could wait outside, and the security guard waited not only 30 minutes to go check with a leader if they could bring this guest to wait inside, but at the same time, he came back and said no. Share a little bit on this. I really love this, and I'm going to repeat. Don't give responsibility without authority.
Well, I think if you hire great people and you train them and you're clear with them about your expectations for performance, that when you tell people they're responsible for all of those things, you have to give them the authority. If I tell you you're responsible to take care of the guest, then I need to give you the authority to take care of the guest if I'm not there. Do whatever is the right thing to do. And you don't have to go get approval. You have the authority to do it. And if you don't give your people authority, it probably means you don't trust them. And if you don't trust them, why did you hire them? And, it's a very simple concept. It's like your children. When your children are growing up, you trust them more and more and more, and they have the authority to hopefully make good decisions when you're home and they're out with their friends. Good decisions. And that's the whole key, because a guest wants their problem resolved right now, not an hour later, not tomorrow, not next week, now. And that's what is part of the magic of the service at Disney. Every cast member has the authority to take care of the guests, period. They don't have to get a manager. So
They're empowered to be able to make the right decision to help the guest instantly.
absolutely. And by the way, you could never do it yourself. The managers, it's too busy, it's too big, it's too many issues going on, and it just does make no sense that you have to go get a manager every time you have some kind of decision you have to make. That's not what their job is.
Right.
So their job's to hire great people, train them, and treat them right. That's what their job is.
I love that. One thing I love about you, then every time I get to talk to you, and even some of the interview that you and I have done together, I love your analogy that you use. Think of you as your own mother. So like if you're training me, then I got to think of you as you are my own mom. I love when you explain that. Could you explain that and share that with us?
Well, the way I think about customer service is I always talk about mothers. Mothers are the best leaders in the world because they love you and they care about your safety. They care about your education. They care about your success. And I always tell people, treat every guest like it was your mother, or like it was your grandmother, or like it was your sister, or your wife, or your daughter. And I often deal with hospitals, and we talk to the nurses. How would you treat that patient if that was your daughter laying in the bed, sick, or your mother? And as long as you put that in your mind, because all of those people are special. They are somebody's mother, they're somebody's sister, daughter, and you got to think they're not just a paycheck. They are people, and people that have big dreams, and we're there to fill those dreams, and we charge for it. We charge a lot of money, so we need to be nice.
Yeah, you always mention to me that the credit card is your best guess, right?
Yeah, we love all credit cards, so we're nice to everybody.
Okay. So I'm going to quote something on the book here. One of the things I love about is that you wrote on creating magic, and in Spanish, I know there's a lot of Latin American people that have joined us, is Ponga Magia en su empresa, which is a replica of a translation of creating magic. But because we're doing this in English, I'm going to go into here, because of this conversation between you and I was supposed to be more of a leadership. Lee's not only a friend, I mean, he's a mentor, and I love everything about Lee, working under Lee's administration. Lee's such a passion, such a patient person to teach you. And the fact that he wrote 5 books tells you a lot about how patient he is. But here is something I really love about on page 28, right in the beginning of Creating Magic, where you wrote a change in leadership. We all come from a background of probably misbehaved leadership, or a leadership that we learned that was bad. But here in this chapter, you wrote something that I personally learned from you and applied in my life. A changing leadership. Your transformation from your autocratic and your controlling manager and inclusive leader, yielding, mediating dividends in the corporation, motivated, and productivity changed your point of view as a leader. How did that change you and inspire you to become such an amazing leader in this industry? I personally say I loved you as a leader, as my leader. I looked up to you as my leader when I was at the park with you.
Yeah, well, I was not always the nicest guy in the world, and I was not always a good leader. When I started out, I was a good manager. I could get things done. I could intimidate people. I could threaten people. I could make them do it. And I did that because I was very insecure. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. My mother was married 5 times. I've been adopted twice. I got my name Cockerell when I was 16, my husband number 4. I didn't graduate from college. So I'm an insecure person. So when I'm in charge of people, I use my authority, and I made people do things. And I went through about 15 years of my career that way until I one day woke up and started understanding that my mother and my grandmother would not be happy with the way I was treating people. And it's because of insecurity. I just didn't know how to trust people. And I started reading, going to seminars, thinking about it more deeply, having a better relationship with people. And over time, I changed. And so I've been in both places. And I think many managers are intimidating because they're insecure. It's kind of this macho, I'm in charge. I tell you what to do. You do what I say. And it's mainly a problem with men. I think women are much better leaders, actually, because they don't have this. They have nothing to prove. They're not trying to prove they're the greatest thing that ever worked. And mothers, they're used to leading from the moment they have children. They often raise their brothers and sisters. They often go to work. And men have to think about their own, what are they trying to prove? I'm not trying to prove anything. I just try to be a teacher. I try to help people learn so they can have a better life. I don't need anything from anybody. I have nothing to prove. I don't need to make your life miserable every morning. So I went through a transition.
Right. Yeah. So that in that book, when you wrote it on Creating Magic, is a transition that you learn how to be an inspired leader, and you learn how to kind of like say, hey, I got to get better at my leadership skill. And I know you speak very highly of that because you and I align in the same excellence in decision making. And one of the things I love about it is how we choose effective leaders and how we inspire leaders. My other question for you is this one. It's something you and I share a common ground. You and I come from the hotel industry, and we have been nurtured to give excellent service. When you work for a hotel industry, you always give that excellent service. It comes within you. Do you believe that people that are not in that industry, there are any different type of industry, from a computer programmer to an accounting to any type of different industry, would they have the ability to do that excellent service?
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, every customer, whether you're going to the doctor or you're going to get your computer fixed, they want their problem solved. People only have problems. And they come to me, you, the doctor, anywhere, the computer store, to get their problem fixed. And it's not so much about the product. It's about, do you trust them? Do they treat you respectfully? Do they listen to your opinion? Do they care about you? And when you do that, you're giving service. My granddaughter told me the most important thing in service is just be nice to people. Be nice.
Isn't it
no
so
matter
simple?
what. Even if the customer's not nice, you be nice. And that's the difference. And we're there to serve. That's what we do. And when you do that, you make more money and you have better return visits and customers come back. There's no upside to not treating customers well and being nice and taking care of them. I always tell people, if you think there's any upside to mistreating people, try it with your wife and you'll find out. There's no upside. You've got to treat people respectfully, period. Because people have problems you don't know about. You don't know why they're in a bad mood. You don't know they're having problems at home or a divorce or illness, or just don't worry about it. Treat people individually, take care of each person, move on. That's your job. That's why you get in the service business. We're there to serve. We're not there to intimidate.
I love it, Lee.
And people come.
Yeah. I want to go into a little bit of, we only have about 30 minutes left, but I want to go into a little bit of one of the things that you've been doing a lot lately. And I know that this is your forte. This is what you love the most, is time management. And I know you get me on my case because I'm like, hey, Lee, you want to have some coffee? And you're like, yeah, meet me at 10. And I get there 10:15. And you're like, you chop my head up. I loved it. And I know time management is one of your pet peeves. Talk to me a little bit about the book. There's two books that we're gonna put on the screen here in a little bit that I don't have it here with me. which is career magic and time management. Talk to me about time management first, and then we'll go into the career magic.
Well, time management's all about keeping your life under control. You know, most people have so many things they're responsible for, and it's getting complicated. And every customer and everybody in your life wants everything quickly, and they want reliability, and they want to trust you. So when you say something, you actually do it. And that's what we teach in time management, to give you a system to take care of all the responsibilities you have in your whole life. You know, your health, your wife, your kids, your career, your retirement, your aging parents and grandparents you might have to take care of. There are many, many things. Training your people, hiring people. And if you don't have a good system to keep track and write down and follow up, you're going to have a lot of anxiety, and you're not going to do well. And people are not going to trust you because you become unreliable. Not because you want to, because it's too much and you don't have a system. Systems matter. You know, we all run our business with systems. Everybody, all the businesses. But we often don't run our lives very well. We have better systems at work than we do in our personal life. Routine, follow-up, doing things at the right time. You know, those are things that matter. And like if showing up on time, people are waiting for you. They have another meeting later. They need it's a respectful thing too. And it's so yeah, that's how. And most people are disorganized because they've never learned about it. They've had no course, they've had no training, and they think it's not achievable. They think you're born this way. You're not born disorganized. You become disorganized. You can learn to do this just like you can take a math course, an accounting course, any kind of course. It's a learned thing.
One thing I remember taking that time management from you is that you usually want you to write things down you did yesterday to see what you achieved today. Could you explain that just a little bit? I know it because now I do it because of you, but just so everybody else understands that concept.
It's not so much writing down, but every day before you start your day, think about yesterday. What did you not do well? What could you have done better? It might be a client, a contract, a call you made, something you said to somebody. So when you fix yesterday, because you think about it, you take care of things even before anybody knows they were a problem, because you think through. Then the other thing you do is you anticipate what you should do in the future. You know, what you do in the future is important. Are you working on your savings, your education, your clients, returning the phone calls on time so the client books business with you? So you got yesterday and you got the future. And those are the two things you think about to decide what to work on. And that's what I do.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I gotta be honest with you with Time Management Magic. I didn't buy the book itself. I bought it in PDF, and with all the exercise that you help for you to do, it have helped me a lot. And I really appreciate that you got that, you wanted that book. And I really I recall when I worked under your administration that you also implemented time management into the management and the coordinators and the directors, because I remember them, you know. But here's something that I vividly remember, Lee, and this you're gonna smile on this one. 7 guidelines. I vividly remember when I started working in Disney. My first job was a friend of Mickey, and I worked at Epcot. And the first thing I was handing to was a little pamphlet that fit right in my pocket. And they said, "This is your guide for everyday life." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, this is the 7 guidelines that we implemented here. And I just wanna you to share a little bit about the creation of the 7 guidelines, because I know you implemented that and you utilized not only the 7 dwarfs with Snow White, it made it fun, and it made us look into it like, oh, this is so cool, this is so fun. Don't be like Sleepy, don't be like Dopey, don't be like Grumpy. Share a little bit of that for us.
Well, I think we were trying to simplify things because this way of training people is through stories, through simplification. Customer service is not complicated, but we try to make it too complicated because in the training we have so much, we're trying to teach people so many things. And the 7 guidelines were kind of basics. Be happy, smile, don't be bashful, go out and meet the guests. Don't be grumpy. That's not your job. Don't be dopey. Say thank you to every guest. Don't be dopey. Be like Sneezy. Sneezing. It's contagious. Hospitality. Be like Doc. If there's a problem, fix it. Do surgery. If you screwed up a guest, then go fix it. And, those are the simple things. Be nice, be friendly, like Mr. Disney said, keep it friendly and keep it clean. Those are basics. And that's what we want, be friendliness and cleanliness. If you just do those things in your business, you're going to be better than everybody else.
As simple as that, right, Lee? Just a simple little formula.
Life is simple.
A lot of people think Walt was so creative, so out of this world, and some people worship Walt when Walt simply all he really wanted was a clean park and a place that people could come and be nice with each other. And that became and relax, right? Tell me a little bit about your your experience as the executive vice president of the Walt Disney World Complex, a little bit of what you have learned from the Walt history and the walk of Waltz and all that we learned through traditions and Disney University.
Well, the things that I learned made a difference in who I was, that I learned how important attention to detail. Every little detail, everything matters. That's what I tell people. If you want to have a great organization, a great company, everything matters. The bathroom's got to be clean, the front, the food's got to be hot, the people have got to be looking proper, they got to have their hair cut, combed. Everything matters. You're putting on a show. That's the thing I learned the most at Disney. We're putting on a show, and we're putting on a hit show like on Broadway. And everybody's got to know what they're doing. They got to have their role in the show, and they have to perform it the same every day. We want to put on a perfect show every day for every guest that comes to Walt Disney World. And that was different. I learned that at Disney. I mean, the attention to the little things matter. The littlest things. No trash. No dirty bathrooms.
It's amazing that culture is still for 80 years going on strong. I mean, just next year, I think Magic Kingdom in Disneyland, California is gonna celebrate their 65th anniversary. And that for 65 years, the consistency has been there. What would you say that culture, because I know that you and I are former cast members and former executive, and we still to today, even though we're not there doing the job, we still act that, we still live that, we still have the pointy set, we still have the body, we still do the 7 guidelines pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. You become something, and then it doesn't matter who you are. You take it everywhere you go. I mean, I've been retired for many years, and I still think about those things I learned, and that's the way I still treat people, and I still talk about that, because when you know more, you do more, and it sticks with us. And I think the big thing is pride. We are proud that we worked there. We're proud that we were a part of that organization. We are proud to say we worked for Disney, because everybody loves that. Everybody wants to work there. So it's a pride thing. I want to live up to the expectation that Walt Disney had. Expectation.
That's a wonderful word. That's amazing. Now let's move on into career magic, because you just hit that little hot button about having pride to work for this organization, to have pride to work for Disney, but yet you teach a lot about Korean magic. Now, there's a whole book about Korean magic. Now, you focus a lot on interview, how to hire the right people. Let's go into that a little bit. Share a little bit of your philosophy on hiring the right people, Korean magic, and from there on.
Well, I think the thing is you've got to have a very organized system for interviewing people to ask the right questions, because every job has different challenges. So if it's going to be a waiter, that's different than if you're going to be in the office or if you're going to be doing something else. So we're very precise on today, if you want to go to Disney, you have to answer 136 questions on the internet before you get an interview. We want to know a lot about you. Who are you? Do you have discipline? Do you have pride? Do you have tenacity? Are you going to determination? And after we do that, then you get an interview, and then we clarify the expectations. We make sure you understand what you're getting into, that we're going to hold you accountable, and you've got to do the job. And you're joining one of the best in the world, so you better be ready, because if you want to be on Broadway, you got to be a good performer. If you want to be at Disney, you got to be a great performer. And as I tell people, there's one way to do things, and there's a Disney way, not your way. We do it the Disney way.
Disney way.
We figure out the best way. Figure out the best way to do something, and then that's the way everybody does it. And and then as far as careers, you're going to have a lot of obstacles. I've been through many obstacles in my career. It's difficult. 9/11, hurricanes, this pandemic right now. I've been fired when I was in a job at Hilton. Obstacles come to you, and part of your career is to stay positive, learn from those, move on. Don't get mean, and don't get hateful, and don't sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it's not, but things happen. And a lot of things happen in life, and if we try to teach people in career magic, these things are going to happen, and you need to be ready for them. And the two things that are going to help you the most are great attitude and being organized. If you have those two things, you'll go on, you'll do something else, you'll be successful. And so that's it. And attitude is probably 80% of your success.
Attitude.
If you don't have a good attitude, there's no way. And how many people do we know that do not have a good attitude?
90%.
Everything's a problem. Everything's a problem. Blame everybody, blah, blah, blah. No, it's your fault. You own it. Don't be trying to blame anybody else for your own attitude. It's not your mother's fault. It's not your grandfather's fault. It's your fault. And so take responsibility, get your act together, and behave yourself. And then empathy. I say empathy and discipline are the two things you need. You got to be kind, you got to treat people right, and you have the discipline to do the right things, the hard things. Yeah.
So since we're talking about Korean magic, here's a question of today's time. And this question, I actually set some questions for you because you and I could talk for hours and steer to all these different directions. I wanted to keep us. You should be proud of me here because this was organized. But with all the companies making tough decisions about laying people off right now during this pandemic, do you think that all the bad employees will just go away and they're going to keep that good employee?
Do I think what?
Do you think that all the bad employees with bad behaviors or just bad employees that we keep them because we need them during the great time, but now that we are laying off people, we are cutting people off, do you think that all these companies are making the decision to get rid of all of the bad employees and just keep the good behavior employees?
Well, it's certainly a good time to do that, but I don't necessarily believe, there's seniority and there's union regulations and there's all kinds of things. I think with the management, I think a lot of the management that is not as good as they thought they were are not going to get invited back. But I think in the frontline roles, seniority, and we have rules and policies around that. But certainly it's a time for every company to upgrade their talent. Upgrade your talent, because there's a lot of people out there. I know a lot of people who are out of work right now who are great, and some company would be so happy to get them. I mean, they're really special, really great people, because they got caught up in companies going out of business. Universal laid off people, SeaWorld, everybody did. And so there's a lot of good people that are available now.
So, and I think that this is a great, one thing you say, and I'm going to quote, this is in your book, and I'm going to quote, education or crisis is how people change. You like that, huh? Because I'm quoting you. So again, education and crisis changes people. Let me know this. Talk to me about it.
It's the only thing that changes people. Either you get educated and you learn, you have a bad experience, a crisis, you get fired, and you learn from that. That's the way the world works. There's no other way to learn. It's through education and crisis. A crisis. People have a crisis in their marriage. They have a crisis in their health. And once they have a heart attack, they start taking better care of themselves. They change. Education, if education would mean that you would take care of yourself before you had a heart attack. But most people change afterwards when they're scared. But education is probably the best way. Educate your kids. And education, I don't mean college. I mean being curious, learning every day, I always say education, experience, and exposure. That's the way you learn. Experience, like you've been all over the world. You have experience other people don't have. You've been exposed to all kinds of things. You have those exposures that make you work with people from every background in the world, every color, every sexual orientation. If you're in the hotel business, you appreciate everybody because that exposure you get. I grew up in a little town in Oklahoma. I got no exposure. I mean, bigotry and racism was a problem. You probably would be a problem if you came to my little town. And then I left and I went to work in the hotel business, and I know people from all over the world now. I'm a different person. That's what exposure does. That's what experience does, and that's what education does. And I always think about that with your children, with your employees. Educate them, expose them, teach them about treating people respectfully. Treat them, and we got a lot of problems in the world. People don't get treated respectfully. There's an issue. It's a big problem in America. It's a big problem everywhere. And leaders have to decide, are you going to change it or are you going to continue to let it go? And in our family, we changed it. My son never heard the things I heard at home about Black people and Native Americans and people from Asia and Mexico. Never. And he doesn't have a discriminatory bone in his body. And then he married a French lady. I had to quit telling French jokes after that, And then I got my 3 grandkids are the 3 nicest kids you'll ever meet. They love everybody because they had the exposure, the experience, and the education. They've been around, And I'd never been anywhere. Yeah, I'd never been anywhere when I left Oklahoma when I was 20. And today I've been to 45 countries. So I know a lot about people from everywhere, and I appreciate them all. They have children. They love their children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you get appreciated.
Yeah, exactly. And so I hate what's going on right now in America. I hate it.
Yeah.
America's not as great as we say it is.
Well, we were going to get into that with you just a little bit because Lee is not only, I love Lee when it comes to political, he is diehard. If we could have kept Obama for 12 years along like we did with FDR, I think Lee would have kept Obama for another 8 years. But I know we are going.
I'll take anybody with a brain, just anybody. So,
and if you follow Lee on his in his Facebook account, which we're gonna put it right here on the comments for you guys, you're gonna see that he is very He's very vocalist about when it comes to political. He's not ashamed to say that he's an anti-Trump. And I'm with you. I love you for that. And he's actually right now speaking his mind about some of the government leadership with some of the state and what's going on with the COVID-19. But Lee, I don't wanna get into the political part right now because a lot of people want to hear about Lee and the Disney time, along with when I worked with you in Disney. And my last question for you about Disney is, in Disney, I have learned a lot about walking with your leader. And I have done that several times when my leader have come and said, hey, Frank, let's walk around the park for a little bit. And he got to talk to me, get to know me. And what would you say about that for all the time that you were leading, back then you were probably leading about 70,000 cast members altogether?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time out in the parks because the key to any leadership, whether you're a parent or whether you're a business, is to have a comfortable relationship with people. So they trust you. They're not afraid of you. They'll tell you things and you don't overreact. You go fix their problems. And the better you get to know people, the easier it is to have a good relationship with them and to tell them the truth. When you know people, I mean, it's just easier. If you don't know people and cast members never see you, then they get scared. They get intimidated. They don't trust leadership because leadership doesn't, across the world now, people don't trust leadership. You got to really work on that relationship. I mean, a lot of parents do it. They intimidate their children and their families. They don't treat them respectfully. They're not, people are very fragile, and you've got to understand that. We all have, we can all be upset very easily by believing we don't matter. And so I spend a lot of time getting to know people because at the end of the day, I tell them, don't chase the money, chase the relationship. When you get the relationship, the money follows. I mean, when people trust you, you'll make more money and you'll make better decisions and right. You'll know the truth. The truth is the name of the game.
Truth is the name of the game. I love when you always explain that. One thing that I vividly remember, and I'm not going to forget, we were gathered together in Magic Kingdom, and you were giving a little, like a motivational speak to the cast member that was surrounded. You might not remember this a little bit back, but you probably did that so many times. You said something that I still have it written on my little book that I took notes, is when you do easy things, life gets hard. But when you do hard things, life gets easy. Share a little bit of that with us. We're almost done, by the way.
Well, yeah, it's true. Most people don't want to do the hard things. They don't want to have the hard conversations, like exercise. People don't want to exercise because it's hard. But if you don't, you're going to lose your health. People don't want to have a hard conversation with somebody about performance. But if you don't, they're going to not do the job. And at the end of the day, that's why I tell you, mothers are the best because they make the hard decisions. They have the hard discussions. Everybody remembers their mother. My mother was a terrorist before they had them in the war. And let me show you, because she wanted us to be successful, safe. You got to have hard discussions. Then life gets easier. If you keep taking the easy way, life gets harder. Lay on the couch, eat too much, get too fat, drink too many beers, and then have a heart attack when you're 55. Then life gets harder. Don't exercise and then you fall and break your hip. Okay, now you're in a walker or wheelchair for 30 years. I mean, you got to anticipate. Don't save your money so you can never retire. Don't be frugal. I mean, come on. Don't educate yourself. Don't read. Don't go on the internet. Don't get to know people. Don't get smarter. Don't understand technology. And then you'll become irrelevant.
You become irrelevant. That's a good one as well. So, and I guess we're almost wrapping up over here. Let's talk about the Lee Cockerell Academy, something new coming out of the oven. I'm very excited for you. So you're going to take all these 5 amazing books and you're going to make us read them, exercise them, and learn from them. Is that something like that? Or I'm wrong?
I always wanted to do it, but I always had an excuse. I didn't have time. But during the pandemic, I have nothing but time. So we started working on it four
Okay.
months ago. 4 months ago, we started working on it, and it's going to come out in the next 2 weeks, and it'll be uh, an online academy. It'll start out with 8 or 9 courses. It'll come with workbooks, videos, audio, uh, exercises to teach people in detail about how to implement the customer rules, leadership in your business, time management course, how to make better decisions course. We have one for students who are looking for jobs now and under these tough times. We have a course for them. We have a course on how to develop the perfect day for your business, for your customers. It's an exercise. It takes you through how from the moment the customer decides to come to your business till they come and go and leave and go back home, how you can, it's kind of like writing your own screenplay for your business. So that's what you're going to perform. So we got all this, and it's going to be like on a subscription rate, and it'll be good, full access, and we'll keep adding things every month so people can continue to learn. And the things they're going to learn are the things that most people don't know, which are simple, basic things.
That's amazing. So you're going to be sharing the experience from Hilton, where you started, Marriott, and then the Walt Disney Company.
I learned a lot in the Army, a lot at Hilton, a lot
That's
at Marriott.
Right, you went to the Army. I completely forgot to mention you were one of our soldiers. Oh man, forgive me. That was
so
you
learn a lot
in the Army.
Disney's like the Army. Discipline. Do it this way. Be on time. Don't complain. It's very similar in many ways.
You know, when I tell people that Disney have this policy of no call, no show, they really don't believe me. They think that, no, that's not right. Yeah, you don't call because you're sick or something happened and you do not show to work. You will never set your foot back in that company again, ever.
Right. And I think everybody listening today can put this same kind of concepts in their own business if they want to. It's work, but you can do it. And so don't underestimate how good you can get in your business, and don't underestimate how well you can have a career. You can do much better. You can be better. It's never too late to get better. And this is a good day to start right now.
Thank you, Lee, so much. I got last question for you, and then we are done. Thank you for sharing the Lee Academy. We'll share with Ubico Business School some of the amazing academy. But Lee, out of everything you've done, and let's go back to the Disney company, because I know everybody loved the Disney concept. What was your most successful as a leader in the company in general? Like, what did you take out of it that was so good for you to today in your life, walk of life?
I would say that at the end of the day, the thing I'm the proudest of is that most people will tell me I taught them something that they learned, and that's why today people say, what is the perfect job? I would say being a teacher, because not a boss. Who wants to boss? Bosses, nobody likes a boss. Teachers, teach people. If you want something, you don't have to raise your voice. Just teach them and show them, just like your mother. Teach, 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 teach. And I was proud of 9/11, the day that on 9/11, all the cast members did their job perfectly because we had great people, we had trained them, and they were committed. And I just stood back and watched. Nothing I could do. And so I was proud of that, the way everybody did their job. I mean, it's amazing. Thousands of cast members went out, took care of the customers, took care of the guests, took care of each other, and we had a great day.
Yeah, that's something that I loved about Disney. Also, throughout hurricanes here, you have the cast member taking care of you, taking care of each other. And then what would you say right now that the Disney parks are opening back up? I have been in the parks doing protocols, checking all the security. I mean, you feel very strong that the parks are good and ready to welcome all these guests coming, especially here in the States.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a different attitude about this. You know, older people are more concerned, so I'm not so sure they're going to come back so quickly. But there's no guarantees. But I can guarantee you one thing: Disney's doing everything as safe as possible. Now, whether you get it and something happens, it's possible. People say, "Well, I want a guarantee." Well, there are no guarantees in life. But if you're going to go someplace, Disney's the safest place to go. If you're going to go to a place where there are a lot of people, concerts, parks, Disney is safer than any place else. I guarantee you that. And now, you may still get it, but life is full of risk.
Life is full of risk.
So I trust Disney to do the right thing. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lee. I would love to stay and talk to you a little bit more. I know our time is ending up over here, but I love that I get to hang out with you and I get to spend this time with you and I got to read your books and I love when we get to talk about Michael Weinstein and Bob Iger and how you met them. And it gets me really excited every time I get to hang out with you. And I wanted to share that today with all these followers and viewers that were able to log in and listen to both of us. There's probably tons of questions, but we're not going to get through all of them. But I am going to be very advocate to the Lee Academy. You could count on that. I'm your #1 fan. And we're going to get a lot of these people to sign up and be part of the Lee Academy because you got a lot to teach. And you said that the most proudest moment you had is that you get to teach people. And I am a cast member who started in 2005 at the Walt Disney Company, being a friend of Mickey, and worked myself up in the company. And I was able to do something there and learn a lot from the company. And now I get to teach and facilitate some of the culture that I learned so much at this company. Not only the brand that is so loved, but like you said, we are proud to wear that name tag, and we're proud to say that we were part of that company. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for today and the time you spent with all of us here at the Ubico Business School.
Take care, everybody. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Mr. It's been an honor to share your leadership experience. For us, it was amazing. Thank you for your time. The same, Frank, always sharing the best of dinner with us. So we are appreciating your effort, your passion with this experience. So thanks all the participants. We hope that you have enjoyed as we have. So thank you so much, Liz. Thank you so much, Frank. I don't know if you have something to say.
No, I'm good. Thank you. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you on our next. We'll see you soon on the next webinar that's coming up. Bye, guys.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Bye now.
Thank you, guys. Bye.